I love it.
What is up, and welcome to Taco Tuesday. Tyler and Cal on Tuesdays. I am so excited. This is Ask DLF. This is the show where we strive to answer any and every question that comes in so that we can help you dominate your dynasty leagues. And we're on week 3, just finished week 3, going into week 4. It's time. We're redraft as much as we are anything else right now, thinking about our lineups, but also as we do with all dynasty leagues and dynasty fantasy managers, we're looking towards the future with a long-term view. Lots of great things happening this weekend. Lots of questions to answer. But Tyler, kick it over to you. How are you today?
A lot better than last week. I don't know if anyone noticed, but last week was brutal for me. Nothing to do with the fantasy industry or anything, just some stuff going on in my personal life. But I wanted to come out and do the show. I literally cried all day, did the show, and then just went back to crying. But I think it was still pretty good, honestly. I'm really glad I did it. I like I said, I'll die in this chair. So, I'm always going to be here and do the show because it always makes me feel better to do it. I'd feel really terrible if I didn't do it. So, yeah. And I do also, it's not related to that, but I wanted to just mention something else because I haven't been on this channel since it happened. And, we talked about this in advance. I just want to, wish the best to Mike Tagliere and his family. I did a 10-minute dedication on my Sunday morning start shit show on my YouTube channel. Basically, I just, the whole thing is very sad, and I'm really going to miss him. He's the reason his podcast is the first fantasy football podcast I listened to. He's probably one of the biggest reasons why I became a fantasy football analyst. So just, having him gone is devastating. But I know what he would want is for us to continue to do the show, other people to continue doing their content, and to keep going to kind of honor him in that way. So that's what we're going to do. But I just wanted to mention that up top in case anyone hadn't heard about it or hadn't heard me say anything about it or anything like that.
Mike loved his family, so go spend that time with your family, hug them, kiss them. You never know how long you have or anybody else has, and so that time is precious, and that's a good reminder of that. And like you said, not only producing fantasy content, but being a good human and being there and present for your loved ones. And we don't hold the comment section here quite as highly as family, maybe sometimes, but we definitely hold them in high esteem, and they're out in full force today.
Well, we need to mention one more thing actually about the comment section.
Yeah.
So Twitter took Periscope offline. So as of now, if you're on Twitter, I don't know if you can comment, but we can't comment to you, and we don't see what you comment. So if you want to be involved, I've realized this live on Sunday when I was doing that show. If you want to be involved in the chat, you have to come on to YouTube. We're just, until Twitter fixes that, I don't know if it's a Twitter issue or a StreamYard issue, but until that gets fixed, the only way you can interact with us is on YouTube. I wish it weren't that way, but that's a Twitter issue, not something we have control over. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. If you're watching this on Twitter, come over to the YouTube. We're not going to see anything you comment in our chat otherwise.
Get over to the YouTube channel. Looking forward to everyone and your questions and trying to do everything we can to answer as we cipher through. We've now got 3 different data points and starting to see some trends, starting to see some different things. One of the things that's so cool, the only player, do you know, Tyler, the only player that has double-digit targets in every single game this year, all three?
Double-digit.
Yeah. One of them has double-digit targets, but he's only played 2 games. But another one has double-digit targets in all 3 games.
Mike Williams.
Close. He had 9 in week 3. Close.
Wasn't Mike Williams?
No. He was close. Close.
Did Keenan Allen?
Nope. So Mike Williams had 12, 10, and 9. Keenan Allen's close, 13, 8, and 12.
Double digits.
Yeah.
I thought it would be Mike Williams. I thought he was leading the league in targets.
He is leading the league in
targets, actually.
Well, Devontae has 34. Keenan Allen is 33. Cooper Kupp is the answer. 33. 10, 11, and 12.
How can I forget about Cooper Kupp?
How many wide receivers do you want in Dynasty right now over Cooper Kupp?
A lot.
A lot.
We're not going to like where I have Cooper Kupp ranked.
How many in redraft do you have over Cooper Kupp?
I mean, I don't do rest of season for redraft. I can tell you where I ranked him for week 4. I ranked him wide receiver 4.
That's high. That's great. He deserves it, right?
Well, here, let me look at it, right? Let me give you an answer. Rest of season, right? So I'd rather have Adams. I'd rather have Diggs. I'd rather have Hill. I'd rather have Hopkins. That might be it. Rest of season, I might have him 5 behind those 4. I think I still want those 4. I'm so confident in those 4. I have 0 doubts. 0. Whereas everyone else, I have some doubt. I have some doubt. It's close. Kupp is in the next group for rest of season with players that like Jefferson has been really good. Ridley, even though the quarterback situation is bad, he's been the clear number 1 target. Kupp is in there with those kind of guys.
Absolutely. And looking forward to talking to all of you. Let's get our first question in. Todd Radmaker says 12-team PPR Superflex is Henry Ruggs in a late first enough for Sam Darnold. Darnold owner is rebuilding. 24-year-old Sam Darnold.
Not enough. It's not enough. That's not good enough. What am I going to get out of that? That's just not going to work. That's not good enough for me. I want more than that. I mean, it's not a terrible offer. But in the 2022 class, you're not going to get a quarterback to replace Darnold with a late first. I just don't think so. Mm-mm. You're not going to get a quarterback that you like better. This is a weak quarterback class. And certainly if it's not weak, you might get a couple at the top, but a late first is not getting you someone you like. So, no, this is not good enough.
Unless you have some kind of like crazy amount of quarterbacks and what you really need is maybe like a wide receiver that might fall to that spot. Like I can see, I can see entertaining this, but I agree with you. You probably can get a little bit more attached to that. Maybe a better piece than Ruggs.
That's more of what it is. What if the offer were, I don't know, a first and Elijah Moore? Maybe that would be a little more appealing.
Yeah.
A first and
Terrace Marshall.
Right. Yeah, how about that? I just think Ruggs is just not good enough.
Yep.
I want something a little better.
Agree. Darnold is starting to have he's got 3 touchdowns on the ground. This is one of those seasons that
keep up.
Well, but it's one of those seasons quarterbacks put together that are weird, right? Like what Justin Herbert had 9 on the ground or 7 on the ground. I don't care about the rushing touchdown.
I don't care about the rushing touchdown. What I care about is that he looks better. He looks better. He looks good.
Still only 3 passing touchdowns on the season. You'd like to see more than that, but
it's not that. He looks good. He's making the right throws. Maybe all they needed was, a little bit of a couple changes. I don't know. I mean, he looks so bad on the Jets. I don't know. He just looks like a different person playing quarterback.
If you want to fix anyone, just have him spend a year with Adam Gase and then have him go somewhere else. And
honestly, sending people to Matt Rule seems like a good solution because it just seems like him and Joe Brady, everything they touch turns to gold.
There you go. Henry wants to know, what's up, Henry? Good to see you in the chat here. Is it time to pick up the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Gordon?
No, we're not picking up Josh Gordon. We're not picking up Josh Gordon. I mean, you can pick him up if you want, but I don't care.
It's one of those things where it's like you think you're just completely done with him, and then he signs with the Chiefs, and you're like, oh,
whatever. We'll talk about Josh Gordon if
how old is he? 40?
30.
He's got to be however old he is.
April 91, I think.
Like Henry said, smash that like button, everyone. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up. If you're looking at this and you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Any questions, make sure you get them into the chat. If you're watching this on replay, which a lot of people do, put comments in the comment section down there below you. And look, at any point in time you disagree with us about anything, go ahead and tell us. Please tell us. We like seeing those comments, and it's fun to be able to hear your perspective. It's not just about us. We want to hear your perspective as well.
You know what? I realized recently that you can make the comments only open to subscribers.
I did see that.
I
We're not there
realized
yet,
that
but
maybe. Ridley
Truther. Now, hey, Ridley Truther, appreciate you tuning in. Ridley Truther was when I was doing the Dynasty. What's the show with Dynasty Outhouse and
Dynasty Junkies?
Yeah, sorry.
I listened to that episode.
Yeah, I was doing Dynasty Junkies, and it was a lot of fun. Me and Addison.
I really liked it. The only thing that would have made it better is if I had been there too.
So Ridley Truther got Calvin Ridley, of course, Woods and A-Rob in about 50% of his or her leagues. Hold one, trade one, start one out of them.
Well, I mean, start one. Ridley. You start Ridley.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, hang on to A-Rob and trade Woods away. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you got to hold A-Rob at this point. I think there are plenty of reasons to be concerned about production right now, but you can't sell him this low.
I'd consider buying A-Rob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Robert Woods, I'm worried about. I'm
more concerned.
Yeah. As Ed said, it's taco time. Love that. Thank you. I appreciate everyone who's keeping the taco theme going. I love this. Tom Hanley, appreciate your comment. He says, trade Rojo for Robbie Anderson, 1 PPR. Talk about 2 players where did they go?
We're here. 2 players that I said I don't understand going into the season. I couldn't have been more right. About wanting not to have nothing to do with these 2.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't want these people. I want these 2 off my team immediately. I guess I'll take Robbie Anderson. I guess. Because you can actually use him occasionally. Whereas Rojo is useless.
So in Dynasty, like most people, I think would want to make the case that Rojo is still pretty young and he would be an unrestricted free agent after this year, right? So
usually bad players don't sign high price free agent deals. Players that are bad usually don't, succeed on the open market. Players that can't hold down a starting role of any kind and lose work to Peyton Barber, Leonard Fournette, and Giovanni Bernard. Those players usually don't become starting running backs elsewhere. And on top of that, being good 1 or 2 runs a game is not good. That's bad. Being good. I said this on my recap show that I did yesterday. Being good for a couple plays a game is bad. That means you're a bad player. And Rojo is a bad player. So I don't want him. He can go. So I'll take Robbie Anderson. You can start Robbie Anderson this week, right? I mean, you could if you had to. This week with no CMC in the lineup, they're going up against Dallas. I mean, when are you ever going to be able to start Rojo? Ever.
I'm not interested in starting him. That was the sound clip I was hoping for, though, when I teed that question up for you. So I appreciate you doing that. OMZH. He asked, should we be worried about Justin Fields' performance?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, so I posted a coaching watch earlier today. And I only put 1 coach in what I called the firing imminent category. I think it's this week. I think if they lose to the Lions, I think Matt Nagy will be fired this week. I think this is it. This is his last opportunity. A loss, and he will be fired. So I am not too worried about Justin Fields' performance. Matt Nagy is the worst coach I have ever seen. The worst coach.
No, he's not worse than Adam Gase. Come on.
No. I mean, Adam Gase is not the coach right now. Matt Nagy, though, is so bad because he actually has had plenty of opportunity. He's had plenty of good weapons. He's had other things, and he's always failed with all of them. He's failed to use any of them properly. So, Matt Nagy, he can go. So, no, I'm not worried about Justin Fields' performance. The sooner they fire Matt Nagy, the better. And I think it's going to be very soon. Very, very soon.
The Lions might win that game.
Oh, I think the Lions will win that game. And I think that Matt Nagy is going to be unceremoniously fired at the end of that game. And, he can go back to where he belongs, which is on his couch and not ruining any more teams.
They basically have Chicago as a 3-point favorite at home. So which, basically saying like, this is kind of even. I'm a little worried in the short term about Fields. I'm not worried in the long term.
Not worried.
As Really Truther says, trade Rojo for literally anything. It might already be too late.
Might be too late. I think after he fumbled, or what did he do? He fumbled and then he got benched, and I think then it was too late.
I took over an orphan team one time, and honestly, I tried to, at that point, it's like 4 years ago, whenever he first came in the league, I tried to trade him away. I would argue Rojo has never been tradable. Nobody's ever traded for him or been successfully traded him away. I just don't think it's ever happened. You can't convince me anyone's ever successfully traded Rojo.
I think I have.
No, it's never happened.
Pretty sure I have.
Trogor, what's up, Ed? I hope all is well. Ed, very well. Same to you. This is why it's the best chat on YouTube. A lot of interaction. We've made some great friends. As Really Truther says, Mike is a legend. We certainly love that. Who dat? Can Stills be relevant in this Saints offense? Kenny Stills?
No.
I agree. Please come back.
More needed than that? No.
Please come back, Michael Thomas.
This offense,
we need you.
Next question.
We need you. Does Jameis Winston have more than 400 passing yards yet?
Jameis Winston, honestly, has been so bizarre. It looks like a different person playing quarterback.
He has 387 passing yards.
But you can't really blame him too much. I mean, he has no receiving weapons at all. Honestly, he's been better than I expected. He's done better than I thought he would, to be honest.
387 yards.
2 victories.
Which is great. I love that.
2 victories.
Derek Carr, meanwhile, has 1,203.
Derek Carr. Look, I mean, I was someone who said Derek Carr is a much better quarterback than people give him credit for all the time. And, here we are.
Here we are. Open 24 hours. Happy Tuesday, fellas. Love the show. We love you. Open 24 hours. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the kind words. Tom Hanley, the primer was
I'm going to miss the primer. I'm going to miss the primer.
It was. Hey, here we go. Good question. Is Cordero Patterson, is he a thing?
Yes and no. I mean, he's probably going to have some appeal. If you can start him in a wide receiver spot, that might be nice. He gives you, if he has dual eligibility, so he on most sites, on Sleeper anyway, which is, since MFL is completely unusable, I prefer Sleeper. I think Sleeper is better. So for my purposes, almost everything I do is on Sleeper. So on Sleeper, he has dual eligibility, running back and wide receiver, which gives you options. If you play in a league with maybe lots of required spots, it gives you 2 options. So I kind of like that, actually. It boosts his value a little bit just from a week-to-week practical perspective. So, I mean, yeah, is he a thing? Sure. I mean, you can start him in a pinch. Dynasty-wise, he's already 30, so not really, but sure. I mean, he's a little bit more of a thing than other ancient guys like Mark Ingram or Dave Johnson you thought might be. There are guys like this all the time. Emmanuel Sanders.
The 30-year-old breakout for a running back. It's happening, and yes, he's a thing.
Sure. Yeah, he's a thing. He is a thing, but I think you see what his role is going to be. His role last week, where he got a good number of receptions and maybe it was, a 65-35 split in carries. That's his role. That's his role, and that's fine. It's usable.
Absolutely. Great piece. Talk about bad beats. Henry lost one of his redraft leagues last night on the deck. Kneel downs at the end.
Yeah, honestly, like, well,
I
Henry,
hate
I'm sure
that.
you have 105 other leagues that you're in, so
I'm
maybe
surprised
not
you
such a
noticed,
big deal
Henry.
for you. But I mean, isn't he at like 100 something?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe not too bad,
He
but
cut it down to 100.
cut it down to 100. Oh, I'm so
Yes.
sorry. He cut it down to 100. It was 200. Now it's only 100. I mean, bad beat stories are fantasy football in a nutshell, right? I mean, that's the game.
I know I've been able to trade.
No. You're not gonna be able to trade him.
No. Nah, you're not going to get much. You're not going to get
No,
anything
I mean,
more
look,
usable.
if you're on a rebuild where you just happen to pick Patterson off the waiver wire, I mean, if he's actively scoring you points you don't want, just send him off for a couple of 4th round picks and just whatever it. Otherwise, just keep him. If you're not a contender, just keep him. If you can start him 2 or 3 weeks, he's worth it. It's worth more than a 4th. I'm just saying, like, it's possible he's someone, if you're in a league with anti-tanking rules, he's someone you're forced to start and actively don't want to. So you can get that kind of guy off your team. Hayden Barber's the same thing.
Yeah, Tom Hanley. Talking about Rojo, he'll be a free agent next year to go to a team where they don't hate him. But here's the thing that we do sometimes in Dynasty is we assume we're smarter than whoever is coaching. And we're like, oh, this coach hates him. If he just goes somewhere else, that coach will just not hate him. But sometimes there's a reason why these people are hated by their coaches.
Yeah, but he's not very good. So that's the issue.
Yes.
He's not good.
Like these coaches have more information that we do. And look,
no, that doesn't mean information. Being good on a few plays a game just doesn't cut it. What about the other plays where you play badly? I mean, inconsistent is not acceptable. So nobody's going to pay him a lot of money in free agency. He's lucky. He's going to get a Marlon Mack type deal. Prove it deal. 1 year, $2 million. 1 year, $3 million from someone. No one's going to make Ronald Jones a starter. He's going to be a backup.
The 2-1 Saints. Here we go. Which, by the way, your team, good Lord.
Oh, let's talk about category 3. Category 2 of the coaching watch today. Seat very hot. Judge and Meyer. Seats are very, very hot at this time.
Judge needs to go. He needs to go.
Yeah. He is completely incompetent.
Yes. I don't know what this is in reference to.
Be anything.
Kelsey ? I don't know. Woke Lonzo, what do you mean here, buddy? What do you mean? And Ed says Swift. I don't know. There might be answering a question of some sort that we. Oh, maybe it was answering the target. Yeah, it probably was a target thing. So I meant in terms of wide receivers. This may be true in terms of tight ends and I was just looking at wide receivers. So forgive me if that's true for some of the tight ends or running backs.
You're forgiven.
Deserve Smith bounced back, looking to acquire him for Jared Cook and Rashaan Evans.
This is IDP, so I have no clue what that means.
Have Higbee and Ertz still at tight end. And Tremaine, Miles Jack, Levante David. I know enough about IDP to be dangerous. I don't think I would be looking to acquire Irv Smith.
I might. I don't hate acquiring Irv Smith in general.
He had trouble breaking out before. Going to be coming back from an injury. I don't know.
He's someone I actually like buying dirt cheap, honestly.
Ryan, if you don't already follow me on Twitter, I can point you in the direction of some really smart IDP people that can help you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm like one of the most anti-IDP people out there. I just don't care for it at all.
OMZH Cooper Cup is on fire. He absolutely is unbelievable. Who that has Cup, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Cooks, T Higgins. Yeah, you're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot more than you thought. I mean, literally all of those players except Higgins have far outperformed their preseason expectations.
Yeah. Ryan, what needs to be added to Elijah Moore, 2023 first, 2023 third, Sterling Shepard, and Palmer to get
I don't even know how to answer this question. What needs to be added? A lot? I don't like. This isn't enough. I don't know. A whole other first, at least, probably more.
So think about before the draft, would you have traded a first, second, and third, and Sterling Shepard and Josh Palmer? So what, a third? So a first, second, and 2/3 for AJ Brown? Probably
of course
not.
not.
Yeah.
No, this is a buy low window for AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
If this is considered reasonable, then I'd like to be buying.
Well, what needs to be added? So
a whole other first, at least.
If you're trying to acquire AJ Brown, I like it.
Send it. I mean, send it.
Yeah.
Send it. It's not going to get accepted, though.
I don't think this is one of those deals that I would look at if I had AJ Brown, and I don't think I'd be offended. I wouldn't take it, but I wouldn't be offended.
Oh, I'd probably be offended.
I wouldn't be offended. But because he is down right now, right? I think you need to add what?
A whole other first.
Yeah.
At least. And that's still not enough.
And I'd want it to be a 2022 first, probably.
Still not enough. Still not enough.
Adam, happy Ty Cal Tuesday.
Oh my God.
That's not bad. That's not
bad.
Dynasty Junkie, it is a really good show. I had a lot of fun.
Yes, I know. I've been subscribed for over 2 years.
Yeah, me too. I'm so embarrassed I couldn't think of the name of it because I do love that show. Here we go.
Honestly, it's probably because it all comes in the DAP network feed, so you don't see the names of the individual podcasts.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Just a theoretical question based on those three production situations. Got it. Rojo may be traded so you can sell low. I don't know.
Who cares? Who cares about Rojo? He's not worth talking about. Yeah,
let's talk about Hamler. Unfortunate injury of the week, maybe. And Hamler, is he worth stashing after his injury, or just drop him?
Do you have an IR spot? I mean, put him. I'm fine putting him in there, but otherwise, probably not.
I'm fine dropping him too.
I'm fine dropping him.
Yeah, if you've got, if you've somehow got Cam Akers and Dobbins and Etienne in there, and you only have 3 spots, no, you're not. He's way lower.
It always depends on who else is out there, but in general, I'm fine dropping him.
Here we go. You were way more worried about CEH than I was last week. Did his performance this week reduce your concern about him?
Absolutely not. He fumbled again. I wouldn't be surprised if you tell me Marlon Mack is on a plane to Kansas City in the very near future. I wouldn't be surprised in the least.
No way.
Oh, come on. Darrell Williams sucks. Jerick McKinnon was washed 3 years ago. I mean, they need a real complement to an ineffective workhorse back that CEH is. It's ineffective. So they need a real complement. They need someone who they can trust as a backup. And they tried that last year with Le'Veon Bell. It didn't work out at all. They need something better than Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams just doesn't work. So no, it has not reduced my concern. And if this gives you a window to sell, I would get out right now. The talent's not there. Got it wrong. The talent's just not there. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter that he's on Kansas City. It doesn't matter that he's a first round pick. That's the only reason he has the value he did. If he were a second round pick who went to Buffalo, he'd be like a 7th or 8th round startup pick right now.
You may be able to get out of them based on this performance.
Oh, I'd love to get out. I'd love to get out. I'd love to get out. I want out of him immediately. I don't want him on my team.
Yeah.
He's just not very good.
I don't share your concerns.
He's not very good. I would rather have good players. I want to have good players on my team. I just don't think he fits into that category.
I think he looked better this week. He was, people forget about the injury in the preseason.
Fumbled again, though.
I think he looked better. He's got 2 career fumbles.
But those have come in the last 2 games.
John Sharkey traded Sermon for Gainwell and a 2023 second. What do we think?
I mean, I'll take the Gainwell side with the pick because I don't want Sermon.
No,
Sermon looked terrible.
I'm with you.
Terrible.
With you.
Not that Gainwell was any good. Gainwell had 1 carry, 1 out of the 3. 1 out of the 3 running back carries. He had 1 out of the 3. I listed Sirianni on the list of coaches who could be going because he's not an NFL head coach. He's completely a disaster.
I disagree. I think he's good.
Sirianni, NFL head coach, he doesn't have what it takes. Oh, please. His news conferences from the beginning were a disaster.
Who cares about news conferences?
This guy cannot. This guy is not NFL head coach material. He's someone who should have stayed as a coordinator, but he's not ready to be an NFL head coach. He was never ready to be an NFL head coach. And I don't like how he's been handling this team from the start. And, you know, his excuse for why he didn't get anything going with the running game, well, it just didn't happen. You control if it happens. You're the head coach. You control if the running game happens.
They were down for most of that game.
No, it's too many excuses. He's someone I just don't trust him. So I have concerns about a lot of the Eagles, like I did from the beginning, because I never trusted Sirianni as a head coach. His rock, paper, scissors nonsense, not naming Jalen Hurts the starter until way later than it was necessary. A lot of nonsense from him. And he's just someone I don't trust. But with that said, Trey Sermon looked horrible. So give me the side with the second. I bet that by 2023, the second's the only thing here that's worth anything.
Woke Lonzo, a few questions, so we'll just do one at a time. Do you have any like we talked a little bit about AJ Brown there in that trade question, but do you have any additional thoughts about him in particular? I mean, not the starting
thoughts about him. I mean, I would like to buy him low. Is that a good thought? I mean, I am a little bit concerned about Titans, but AJ Brown is so good. I'm not overly concerned.
When you lose your offensive coordinator and the offense looks as bad as it does right now, I think there are legitimate reasons to be concerned about right now, but he's such a great talent.
He is. Talent. He is.
2 is Jamar Chase a fat sell high? No. Or do we hold?
No.
Why this superstar? Dude, he is so good. He's so good.
Wouldn't sell him.
3 players to target with Edmonds. I want the double wide receivers in my flex.
In what? Redraft? Trading in redraft is like you're not asking the right person.
Yeah, Edmonds.
I don't trade much.
I don't think Edmonds has a lot of value right now.
No, I don't think so either. In Dynasty,
trade market.
In Dynasty, what do you think you can even get? I don't know. It's a weird question. I suspect this is redraft, and I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Let's talk about Justin Fields. We did talk about his coach. You mentioned that.
I saw Ed make this comment as I was talking about it.
Okay.
So he's just
Tony.
Me.
Tanya wants to talk about Kyle Pitts. What are the Falcons doing?
Oh, the Falcons. Well. We're talking about incompetent management. Falcons have mismanaged their cap situation for years, and now they're stuck with a aging, terrible quarterback who's going to saddle them with a $40 million cap hit for next year that they have no way to get out of. So that's what they're doing. That's where they are.
There's some ups and downs. He made a big play at the end of the game.
Pitts or Ryan?
Pitts.
Matt Ryan can't play.
This is a ridiculous stat that I heard last week. Do you like, and I wish I could give it credit. I can't remember exactly where I heard it. And I don't even know if it's still true now, but going into last week, when Kyle Pitts was on the field, the Falcons were averaging 5 yards more per play with him on the field than without him.
Yeah, I've heard this stat before.
That's gigantic. That's so many extra yards. All right. Yeah, Hugh Jackson is the worst coach of all time.
Hugh Jackson is pretty bad.
What about Freddie Kitchens? That's another one that should be
Freddie Kitchens. Yeah. I remember when he thought that Baker Mayfield was a doggy. He was like trying to pet him like that.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
We try to buy Pitts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not happening.
He's a tight end 1 in Dynasty.
I agree.
I think the Dan Arnold trade was more of a pass blocking necessity for the Jags and a cornerback need for the Panthers. More so than a Trimble vote of confidence, but it's got to give Robbie Anderson some hope. Interesting. I'm not sure it does much to that offense to not have
CMC is going to come back. That's all that matters. When CMC comes back, Robbie's totally unusable.
Patrick traded Rojo away for Gaskin.
I like it. Look, I like it.
Pixar didn't happen, Patrick. Pixar didn't happen. Ed likes it. That was a few weeks before the season. Start Hubbard or JT.
Really?
What?
Really?
What?
This is not a question. So Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor is the running back 28 on the season right now.
I don't care. I'm going to start Jonathan Taylor.
He's behind Zach Moss.
Well, I understand
and
that.
Mike Davis.
I understand that. But I'm going to start Jonathan Taylor.
Nyheim Hines.
I'm still going to start Jonathan Taylor.
I don't think I'm. Oh gosh, are you starting? Are you trying to get Hubbard into your lineup?
I have Hubbard at RB15 for this week, so yes.
Henry, 138 teams. You couldn't do it, could you? You could not get yourself down to 100.
It's crazy.
Couldn't help yourself. Good job, Henry.
I don't understand.
We're degenerates too, man. It's okay. No worries.
You speak for yourself.
Open 24 hours. Traded 2 2023 seconds and Josh Palmer for Matt Ryan, Tony Pollard, and Cordero. 12 team. I'm assuming that means Superflex team.
It seems cheap. That seems cheap.
PPR, I'm a contender. Yeah, that seems really cheap, actually.
Really cheap.
You should be arrested for this.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
Pollard's almost worth that on his own.
That's what I was thinking. Goodness.
Yeah, that's cheap.
And if it's Superflex and you add Matt Ryan, maybe you're not pumped about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. New offense, like he did seem to struggle with new offenses in the first year most of the time.
No, Matt Ryan is the most overrated quarterback in the last 15 years. Matt Ryan, without Julio Jones, he wasn't good before Julio Jones came there, and he's never been good in the games Julio Jones didn't play. Without Julio Jones, he's a below-average quarterback in his career. Below average. Nothing special. If anything, he actually kind of sucks. So, no, Matt Ryan, overrated. And now you're going to see 36-year-old Matt Ryan is not going to perform a miracle. He's done. He's done.
I'd move him for that package, though.
Oh, sure, but that's more about liking Pollard than Ryan.
Yeah. Bob is trying to trade away Pat Mahomes for some reason. How many picks would you want to move him?
Let me help you with that, Bob. Why don't you just not trade Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that idea. Instead of trying to trade Patrick Mahomes, let's just not.
I would prefer not.
I'd prefer not.
Yes, Superflex. True about Rojo. It's like the random hypeless or hopeless Marlon Mack hype today. Rumors of him being traded. Oh, snap. If he goes to X team, you never know. Yes, sometimes you do know. They're not good. You're right. Hopeless. Hamler hasn't popped.
No, not at all.
Moe's Queso or Cadoba?
I don't care. Next question.
I don't know either of these. Corey, you tell me.
I don't care.
And I will try them. I like queso, but I don't think I've ever had either one of these.
Never liked it. Never been to either of those two places. Don't care.
Ed traded Sermon for Javonte Williams and 50% of his total fab.
Sometimes people do stupid things, I guess. Congratulations, Ed.
Nice job. So random. I even tried it, but it worked. Oh, redraft. Okay.
Still.
I want Javonte.
Yeah, easily.
What would you need to give up, Javonte in Dynasty? 2 first? Has he got to that point yet where he's 2 first?
Yeah, he's gotten to that point.
I think he has. Here we go. Probably a little more. Oh, maybe a little bit more than 2 first?
No, not more.
You can always ask for more, but
yeah,
I'd sell for 2
sure.
first. Follow up, would you trade Pitts for Hawkinson in Dynasty? No. I would not. In fact, that was talked about on the Dynasty Junkies podcast as well.
I'd rather have Pitts.
Patrick, this is more of a redraft question. And that's okay. Listen, like Dynasty leagues, there's a lot of similarities in redraft, so it's fine. Yeah, we can do redraft. Do we ignore use check? Yes, spelled it correctly without cheating in deep leagues. Is he worth more than Sermon? Oh,
no. Once Elijah Mitchell comes back, use check will just go back to being a blocker. So no, you can ignore him.
Yeah,
I expect Elijah Mitchell to play this week. By the way,
that would be great.
He was close to playing this week.
Keep trying to trade Hawk for Pitts. Yeah, I think this is a good.
I would love to do that.
Me too. Julio Jones or Robert Woods rest of season as Raheel. This is
boy. These two.
This is like the question earlier that was Rojo and Robbie Anderson. It's just a little depressing.
Man. What's more likely, that Julio Jones is washed, or that Robert Woods is just not involved in the offense? Because I don't think Robert Woods is washed.
No, I don't think he is either. I don't understand his usage right now, though.
No, but see, that's the thing. Like, I have concerns that Julio is just kind of washed. You get a game or two where he's the old Julio, but he's mostly washed. Whereas Robert Woods, I worry, is more of a game planning thing. I think Robert Woods doesn't really look like he's lost a step. He looks fine. So I don't know between those two. I guess if I had to choose, I have more confidence in Woods bouncing back than Julio. Even with AJ Brown potentially out. It would be different if I found out that AJ Brown would be out for a very long time. Not what I'm expecting, though.
I want to get to one of our Twitter questions. This came into the Ask DLF, which is at DLF_ask. Twitter. What?
DLF_ask.
DLF_ask. Make sure you ask your questions right in there. We are excited to be able to answer those as well. And the ones coming into the chat. If you're watching this and you have other questions, we have some room. Go ahead and get them into the live chat. We've got another 45, 50 minutes that we're going to be doing this show today. So let's answer this from Justin231443325. Wasn't able to watch the whole game. Did Sermon show anything to indicate getting touches going forward, or should we try and sell his touchdown and get what we can?
Not really. No, not really. I think that Elijah Mitchell is going to walk right back in and be the starter when he comes back.
Yeah, sometimes we overthink things and we think we're smarter. And man, I think Elijah Mitchell overtook him.
It's not like Elijah Mitchell impressed me in week 2. He looked terrible.
Yeah.
He looked terrible.
Well, I think what made that look bad is when you look at the game against Dallas and how good Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard did, that made you think like, whoa. Either that was the offensive line just wasn't producing, or the game plan wasn't good, or whatever it was, but I don't know. Okay. Back to our comments. Let's go. Oh, we got some good ones. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a 2022 first and a second for Jonathan Taylor.
Not enough. Still take Taylor.
Man. What? Oh, gosh. I know his talent is so good. What makes you so confident that sharing the backfield with Hines the way he is, he's going to be what we hope, that juggernaut top dynasty running back? There has to be doubts right now about that, right?
I get it, but look at Nick Chubb, over 3 years older, in the exact same situation.
Who you don't like.
Who said I didn't like
him
him
into the season?
Didn't like, just because I didn't rank him as a first round startup pick means I didn't like him?
Well, but Jonathan Taylor, like this is a price that you're paying for somebody.
Right, but you're paying for 3 years younger on that, and someone who doesn't have a history of catastrophic injuries. So you're essentially paying for the healthy version of that, who I think is just as good, who's 3 years younger. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Robert wants to know Tua, who your favorite, and Fuller, or Sam Darnold and Terrace Marshall. I think I know which way you're going to go with this.
It's not close. On Darnold's side, it's not close. I'd rather have Darnold than Tua, and I'd rather have Marshall than Fuller.
You're pretty confident in Darnold, aren't you?
Well, no, actually, Tua's dynasty ranking has been changed. It's now, get ready, dynasty quarterback 23. I'm just done. Jacoby Brissett looked better. It's just that simple. He looked better than Tua has ever looked on an NFL field. I'm just done. I'm done. Tua just is, it's not it. I'm tired of him. Another injury, didn't look good to open the season, didn't look good last year. We're not getting that Tua back. I'm done. Tua's quarterback 23. I'm just done with him. So give me Darnold's side. I'd much rather have Marshall than Fuller as well. Fuller looked okay, but Waddle is Waddle's their guy. Waddle's their guy. I mean, Waddle had 12 receptions? Yeah, they didn't go for a lot of yards, but if he has 12 receptions, how many is Fuller going to have? That's going to be a problem. So yeah, give me Darnold and Marshall easily.
Henry wants to know Mike Evans' demise after week 1 was greatly exaggerated. Never wavered.
No, it's not. It's actually now's the time to sell Mike Evans. It's totally not exaggerated. Players like Mike Evans,
100%. We buried him too early.
No, we didn't.
Did not need to happen.
You find me one player who wins like Mike Evans, who's successful at 30 or 31. Find me one. Find me one. One. Des Bryant, 27, done. Andre Johnson, 30, 31, done. Find me one. Just find me one player other than Calvin Johnson, because Calvin Johnson is special. Find me one who won that way, who succeeds into their late 30s. They either become, or even early 30s. Find me one. Give me one example. You won't be able to, because I've looked. There aren't any. There aren't any. The kind of guys who age well are like Larry Fitzgerald, Keenan Allen. Those are the kind of guys who go, and have the career into their 30s. Someone like Emmanuel Sanders is succeeding now. Someone who doesn't, who wins by getting open. Emmanuel Sanders is not winning by out-muscling people. It's just not going to happen. Sell now. Trust me. You'll see it. I mean, people were like, Des Bryant was, and this is before I was even playing Dynasty, but Des Bryant was a first-round starter pack. I've gone and looked back at the ADP, and then one day was just like, whoops, and he was gone. How's AJ Green looked since he turned 30?
Yeah, not great.
Good or not so good? Trust me.
Not great. How old is Mike Evans? 27?
28.
28.
Cliff's coming.
It ain't coming this year, though.
He's just not. He's really good, but really good isn't good enough to succeed with his play style into older years. You have to be great, and he's just not that. He's not in that upper echelon. He's not Calvin Johnson.
Good question from Ridley Truther here. We're starting Fields this week versus Lions, right?
You can start him. I have Fields at quarterback 18. So in some situations, yes, but I mean, I don't care how good the matchup is. Last week was so bad. We almost had as many sack yards as we did passing yards. So you can start Justin Fields this week. I'm good. I need to see it. I need to see it.
I'm not sure the Lions defense is that
No,
bad.
it's the Lions defense is really bad. But
they faced the 49ers, and they gave up 24 fantasy points. That's also with Trey Lance, right? Didn't he score a touchdown?
Lions defense was actually pretty good last week against the Ravens.
Then they played Aaron Rodgers on his bounce back game. Then they played Lamar Jackson. Like, the fact they've given up a lot of points, like, I'm not sure that's an accurate reflection of who, because they face some really good quarterbacks.
But I don't care who they're playing. I think quarterback 18 might be a little generous.
Oh, do you know how many yards they would have given up, though? Because Malcolm Brown was open and literally couldn't catch
Hollywood.
anything.
We can talk about Malcolm Brown.
Hollywood.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
this is Hollywood Brown. We have another discussion. I wrote about him in the article.
He dropped everything.
I know.
Everything.
3 deep passes dropped. Not good. Not good. Not impressed.
That was bad. He
That's
was
one of
looking
those
good,
mixed
too.
bag things, though. It's one of those mixed bag things, because half of it is like, well, he got open deep. I mean, that's something. That's something. I actually kind of like that. But then dropping the ball is unacceptable. So, but I always say don't fade drops, right? I mean, I didn't fade Jerry Judy because of drops. I didn't fade Deontay Johnson because of drops. The talent wins. Drops are inconsistent. And also I read a stat, and I put this in my article, that he had never dropped a pass 20 yards or more in his career up until this week. So it's not like this is a consistent issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not totally panicking on Hollywood Brown. But as for this Fields thing, I mean, you could be risking a negative. It can't start negative. So I don't care how good the matchup is. 18, I think I might find is generous. I might have to re-rank him.
Okay, before I get to the question, Tupac Forever, I love your name. I grew up here in that era. I love Tupac. The other day I was listening, my son had on a song that had the beat, like exactly the beat from Tupac's Changes song. And I was like, Eli, this is Changes. This is from Tupac. Like, I played that song for him. It was great. So hopefully Tupac Forever, you can relate to that. And yeah, it's Tupac did it better is what I told him. And I was right. Okay. Would you bench Saquon Barkley, who plays New Orleans, for Waddle, who plays the Colts, Brandon Cooks, who plays the Bills, or Beckham, who plays the Vikings? 2 points per reception.
No. I mean, who are also the Giants going to throw to?
Yeah.
Shepard and Slayton
Pretty
are
much
both
just
missing
Ingram
this week. Evan Ingram. Oh, he managed 2 catches of his 6 targets, went for 21 yards and a fumble. He was just so great. Evan Ingram was just awful. I had someone trying to tell me that Evan Ingram was like going to be great because his volume said so. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, one thing that people just never will learn is that volume can be taken away at any time. It's not guaranteed. If you suck, eventually they'll stop throwing to you. And he sucks. The Giants need to just stop throwing to him and just bench him. He hurts the team every play that he's out there. So I'm tired of Evan Ingram.
The only running back to do anything against the Saints, though, so far is Christian McCaffrey. Aaron Jones did nothing. He got the entire Green Bay running back room got 6.2 points.
Giants just don't have a choice, though. What are they going to do?
Not bad enough. New England Patriots got 4.4 points out of their running backs total.
What are they going to do? What else are the Giants going to do? Their only reliable receiving weapon is not even going to play.
One quick note on Brandon Cooks. Davis Mills is terrible.
That's an understatement.
I'm not starting anybody in this offense. I can't.
I'm fine starting Brandon Cooks, but not over Saquon Barkley.
I can't start Brandon against the Bills. No way. No.
I mean, Brandon Cooks has succeeded every week, no matter who they're playing and no matter who the quarterback has been.
I'm not doing it. He looked too bad. I can't do it.
I would definitely start Brandon Cooks this week, just not over Barkley.
BJ Lee own all the Tampa Bay running backs in Dynasty. What to
I'm
do
so
with
sorry.
This is like, you talk about roster clogger. Yeah,
these are roster cloggers.
Ultimate roster clogger.
Well, they don't have any value, and just hold on to them. What are you going to do? Nobody wants them, right? I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Sabotage drop.
Nah.
Patrick, Julio or Woods? Woods at least has an MVP candidate thrown to him.
On Dynasty, I still take Woods. He's 3 years younger.
Oops. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Don't answer that. No. Where was I? Shoot. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Jacob Johnson. Should I trade Dak and Stephon Diggs for Jamar Chase? I'm assuming this is Josh Allen, unless there is a Joan Allen, maybe his mom, and Antonio Gibson. My other receivers are Cooper, Lockett. Then I have Higgins and Claypool on my bench.
I don't understand. What am I missing here?
You do not need to acquire more wide receivers. And I don't think I'm trading
I just don't understand.
Diggs for
what is this?
Josh
Is this
Allen.
Redraft?
Hey, hang on. I got to read this again. He's getting Allen, Chase, and Gibson.
But that's why I don't get it. It's so obviously that side. But
yes,
what is this? Is this?
If it's redraft,
it's really going to help us with these questions if you tell us if it's dynasty or redraft. But either, I mean, it's the Allen side either way.
Yeah, I still think I'm doing it. Yeah.
it's the Allen side either way, but I mean, yeah, it's easily the Allen side. I mean, I'd rather have Allen than Dak, and I'd rather have Chase alone over Diggs in Dynasty. Forget about it. Or Gibson, either of them over Diggs.
Mace, man, this is just like 90s, like rap and hip hop. Mace used to do a lot of songs with P. Diddy, which was known by Puff Daddy at the time. Mace asked, will Jeff Wilson Jr. take over goal line duties and possibly more when he returns if Mitchell is still playing good?
Well, when was Mitchell playing well? Week 1? Because week 2 wasn't good.
I think he will. I think he's going to take it back over.
I think Jeff Wilson,
but I think he will.
Why? Jeff Wilson has done more in the NFL than Mitchell.
No, I'm saying I agree. I do think Jeff Wilson will take back over.
Yeah, no, I agree. But why do you hate it? I mean, is it just because you? I mean, I was someone who was never in on. I wasn't really in on Mitchell. I was saying sell. For actually mostly for this reason, that I didn't like what I saw from Mitchell. I just because Mitchell is good compared to Sermon doesn't mean that Mitchell's good. Those aren't the same thing. I think what happened here is more a case of Sermon being absolutely horrible than Mitchell being great, because I don't think he is. And week 2, Mitchell looked terrible. To me, he looked terrible. So I think my answer to this question will be a definite yes. I think Jeff Wilson will walk back in and he will be the starter when he's fully healthy. The starter.
But I think Sermon goes back to being inactive.
Who knows? Who could be healthy at that time? Who could be healthy at that time? I mean, who knows? Anything could happen between now and then.
Yeah.
This is the 49ers backfield. Nobody knows. But I think Jeff Wilson would walk into the starting role.
Ed wants to sell Sermon to the guy who spent all of his fab on Mitchell and redraft. How much would you sell JT for? I have JT, Edmonds, and Monty, Cooks, Rager, Ruggs, rebuilding. You are rebuilding with this roster. Yes,
probably. Yeah, as much as I can get, but it's a tough time to sell him, right?
If you can get what you wanted to get in that package for him, then yes, this is when you sell him.
Well, let's see let's see what's available.
I had a little hope.
Forget it.
Rebound. I still have a little hope he can rebound.
Forget it.
I haven't given up, Ed. Hang in there.
I'm so done.
No, he lost.
I don't have Derek Carr over Tua in Dynasty. One of those two quarterbacks is actually going to be good, and it's not Tua.
Bob, it's actually more than this. He added this in his
a lot more.
Year 40.
It's a lot more, but Jerry Rice actually is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Someone who can win with route running and receiving skills and not just pushing the guy out of the way. They see that's the thing. That's who succeeds into their 30s. It's guys like Jerry Rice. Your Mike Evans type, guys like Antonio Brown can succeed into their later years. Guys like Mike Evans, name one. I said name one. No one's been able to really do it. Someone who wins that way, who really lasted much past 30 or 31. Those guys hit a hard wall at 30 or 31, almost exclusively. I can't think of one.
It is hard to think of one.
Who won with size, whose biggest thing was winning with size, winning with their size and winning, by contested catches. I struggle to name one. I just can't. There aren't any.
We've done this before, but it bears repeating every time I ever look at it because it is always
Jerry Rice is a monster.
At age 40, he had 150 targets, 92 catches, 1,211 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Mike Evans is not Jerry Rice.
He also had 3 carries. They turned and handed the ball to 40-year-old Jerry Rice in Oakland 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And he got 20 yards.
I mean, there's one Jerry Rice.
That's insane.
There's one Jerry Rice.
At 41, he had 124 targets. Didn't produce quite as well with it, but
No, but it's the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of guys like Mike Evans who hit the wall around that time. He came up with one of them. Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
Hit the wall right around that time.
R.I.P. Robert Hunt, start Javonte Williams' talent or Chuba Hubbard's volume?
This week? Chuba Hubbard. This week, I'm going to start Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Javonte Williams is just not from a week-to-week perspective, I mean, right now he's splitting carries with Melvin Gordon, and I don't think that a change is imminent. And this week they're playing Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm not excited about starting anybody against Baltimore right now.
Yeah, this week, and Chuba's playing Dallas. So this week I don't see any way. And I'm not going to hold the Eagles' incompetent play calling against the next opponent for Dallas. The fact that the Eagles only ran the ball 3 times, I'm not going to just assume that that's going to be every team, because other teams are actually competent. And I think that Chuba Hubbard is going to get more than 3 carries. So I would definitely go with Chuba Hubbard this week. Javonte Williams is, of course, a better player, though, by a lot. I don't think Chuba Hubbard's a very good player.
Henry said Mike Evans can help you win this year, though, and people said he was washed. But this is where I want to focus on this. He says Dez is his favorite player of all time. Who do you think a person whose second favorite player is Dez? Who do you think their first favorite player is?
Michael Irvin.
That was my guess too. Michael Irvin, but maybe Emmitt Smith. Maybe there's
Emmett.
Yeah, maybe it's Emmitt. And Dez caught it. Ed Franz, I'd rather sell a year early on a guy like Evans and miss a little production. I mean, me too. I do think he's going to be good this year, but when Antonio Brown comes back and if Rob Gronkowski is healthy, there's just so many mouths to feed, and it's going to be back and forth between Evans and Brown, I think, when they're on the field together. Chris Evans is the one that I think is the only one.
You mean Mike Evans? Chris Evans is very different.
My bad.
Chris Evans, Captain America.
Not Chris Evans. Mike Evans. I think Chris Godwin is the only one whose production I think is going to be consistent.
Yeah, I think that Mike Evans is what he is.
Yeah. Brown and Thielen are over 30.
Exactly,
yes,
because they win differently.
Yeah.
Thielen is, very good with his possession skills, PPR, like racking up the points that way. And Antonio Brown is one of the best route runners of all time.
We are 1 hour into the show. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and all the questions and responses that we are getting. Keep those coming in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you have not hit the like button, what are you waiting for? We're working so hard and answering questions. It's the least you can do. Take your little mouse, go over there, click the like button, click the thumbs up.
I still think a 33-year-old Antonio Brown is a better player than a 28-year-old Mike Evans. Just for the record.
Right here, redraft PPR. Would you trade Gibson for Hopkins? Which side would you need to give more?
Redraft. Running backs are so hard to find in redraft.
Mm-hmm.
Hopkins is a higher tier asset.
Yes, I would.
Depends on what you have, though. Like, if you have nothing at running back, you might not be able to afford it.
Yep. Assuming you can move pieces around and you still have the running back depth to be able to do that.
No, it's very close. I mean, it's just possible in redraft that you just can't afford to do this. Trading away running back depth in redraft is very dangerous.
People responded to Bob here in the chat.
Same thing that I said. Yeah.
Good question going on. Bill's going to have an awakening against the Bills. Come on, Ed. You know better than this. You know.
Oh, well, there are multiple types of awakening. It could be good and it could be bad. We don't know what he meant. Not in a good way. I was going to say, so not so good. Yeah, no, it's not going to be good. Not good. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, really truther. Yes, and Jeff Wilson heard all Manic and Chill. Another great show that everybody should be checking out. Scott saying to constantly cycle offers for whoever the injured Niners RB is. It's probably the best strategy. I don't know. I don't think it's as random as people think.
No, it's not random. It's just like none of these players are that good. That's all it is.
Yeah. I think the randomness comes mostly from
injuries.
And when the running back came back from injury, they seemed to get the opportunity to go back in and earn their spot again. And that's why I think Wilson could come back in and reclaim 15, 16 carries a game.
I mean, I think what they wanted was that for this year, Mostert was their starter, Wilson was the backup, and like Sermon and Mitchell were like their long-term plans because those two were only signed for 1 year. Mm-hmm. But then that didn't happen. But I think that's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mitchell and Hasty are out. Am I starting Javonte Williams or Trey Sermon against the Seahawks?
Can I go back to Trey Sermon this week? Jonte Williams against Baltimore. Man, I mean, do we think Elijah Mitchell is going to play? I do think he will. So I'll go with Javonte Williams. But
this is another one of those where sometimes you have to look a little bit deeper. This is a really good point. If I say so myself, you have to look a little bit deeper than just where the team ranks at this point in the season. One big blow up week from somebody can really adjust what you think about a player. The Seahawks gave up 44.6 points to running backs to the Titans in week 2. Yes, they're the 32nd ranked defense against the run, but that's carrying a lot. That's doing a lot of work.
I just don't even look at that stuff. Like, I honestly don't even look at that stuff. I don't think that stuff's very sticky.
People do. Like, when people see the little green and they're like, oh, they're the 28th ranked defense, I'm going to start this guy. I think people do that a lot.
I care more about what a defense is like overall than a specific against the position, especially at this point in the season. I almost never look at that, though. I rarely look at that. I'll look at that from time to time, but I'm trying to think more. It's hard to predict like how someone's going to do their defensive game plan for a game. So I'm thinking more like, is the defense going to allow a lot of points? And I want to chase, you look at Vegas for that. You look at Vegas and what the implied point total is. And if it's a high number, then I kind of want players from that team. If it's not, then not so much. Because you want touchdowns. I mean, touchdowns are how you win in fantasy, right? I mean, those are the difference-making elements. Is a touchdown. A touchdown is a big deal. So you want someone who has a lot of high implied point total. And I haven't looked at the Vegas line for that game, but I don't think San Francisco is going to be implied a low number. I think it's going to be pretty high.
Yeah, I don't see the over-under here where 52. It's a 2.5 point spread. That's what?
So that's giving what? San Francisco like 24? 24, 25 points. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. But I just think that the premise of the question says that Hasty is going to be out. Hasty's on IR. But the premise says Mitchell is out, and I don't think so. Mitchell has a shoulder injury. He was very close to going this week. I think if this week had been the playoffs, Mitchell would have played. So I expect Mitchell to play this week. And I think if he's active, I'm going to rank him above Sermon, but I'm not going to rank either super high. So I'd probably just have to say Javonte Williams at this point, but you're going to need to watch the injury report on this one. And we have injury shows.
We do. Let's go to the next question. Ed, I'm going to post that picture that you just sent me in Twitter.
A picture? What did Ed do?
Next 2 weeks, Chuba Hubbard or Javonte?
Hubbard.
Crazy to sell Kelsey now while he's still 31?
That's not crazy. I mean, it's not crazy to sell any player. If you get a good price, it's not crazy. If you get an overpay, then perfectly reasonable, right? To sell anybody. Look, I mean, if you're not a contender, it's probably time, right? I mean, he's about to turn 32. I think he's October 89 or so. It's during the season he turns 32. So yeah, if you're not a contender, now is probably the time. I mean, he's still producing like he always has, and you can still get the absolute maximum value. So if you're not a contender, get out. And if you are, then don't sell Kelsey. He's gonna help you win a title. Just keep him.
Mm-hmm.
It's very. I mean, Kelsey to me this offseason, when I was giving advice for startups, to me, Kelsey was one of those players that you just build once you take him, you're building your whole team around contending. Otherwise, you just don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those players. Christian McCaffrey was kind of another one. If you're going to take them, that forces you into being a contender because there's no reason to have them otherwise. So my answer to this question would be, let's say you picked Kelsey and your team you were an Akers, Dobbins team.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe also had AJ Brown and Christian McCaffrey somehow. You had all of those players with Kelsey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And your team that was a contender is now not. Then I would sell Kelsey. If you're 0-3 and you thought you were a contender and you're not, then sure, sell Kelsey now and capitalize.
I can't believe he's a year younger than Rob Gronkowski. That's crazy.
He's like a few months younger or so.
Yeah.
They're the same year. They're both 89.
That's just so crazy to me. We've seen tight ends like that level of tight ends age pretty well. I mean, Tony Gonzalez is an example of that, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't Tony Gonzalez really much longer. He was good, but not great. Jason Witten, same thing.
No, he was great.
No, he wasn't.
He got at 32, he got 155 targets, 134 at age 33.
Yeah, but that's not that much longer. He's already going to be 32. I mean, when did Tony Gonzalez drop off?
At age 36, he got 124 targets, 93 catches, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, but these are not Travis Kelce numbers. I mean, Tony Gonzalez's last difference-making season was his last season in Kansas City. After that, when he was 33, I mean, 83 catches for 867 and 6. I mean, that's good, but that's not Kelce levels of difference maker. That's not winning you a fantasy title on its own. So, I do think now is the time. Now is the drop off from all world to just great is coming.
Here's the picture that Ed sent me. Is in reference to Davis Mills. I don't know if you see Davis Mills in the background there.
What the hell is this?
Wow.
How does someone even come up with that idea? How does someone even come up with the idea to make that picture? I can't even. Let's get to the next question. But that picture was so funny. It was worth putting up.
At Jeff Landers on Twitter it looks like he posted. I don't know if he made it, but it looks like that's where it originated from.
It was worth it. It was so worth it.
And that's pretty funny. Aaron Thorpe. To add to the point, Demaryius Thomas size versus Emmanuel Sanders finesse. I hate that you're right about this. I loved Demaryius Thomas.
He's right though. He's right.
You're right.
Look at Cole Beasley succeeding in an older age. Julian Edelman succeeding in an older age. You see who succeeds in an older age.
Yep. Yep. And look, this, I don't know what it was about, but just, hey.
Thank you. I'll take the credit for it. I'll take the credit.
Good point. My bad. Lack of context. He added PPR
Context helps. Yeah, it helps because, I want to give the correct information and it's hard to go through a bunch of hypotheticals. So yeah, just include those scoring format, whether it's Superflex or not, tight end premier or not. And now that we're in the season, include whether it's Dynasty or redraft. In the offseason, we just assume it's Dynasty.
So Raheel asked earlier, let's go back up. I'm going to go pull that question up.
I really appreciate, by the way, everyone who tunes into this show and asks questions. It, it really means a lot to me that so many of you want to come and have your questions answered.
I think we all get smarter. I really do.
I do this show for you guys. It makes me happy that I can reach all of you with my answers. And you guys get to hear my voice and not just one sentence on Twitter. I like that, right. But it feels more personal for me to be able to answer with my voice. So you guys can hear how I feel about it.
So there's some context to this trade, which we kind of said it kind of depends on what you have. So Raheel added that he has Joe Mixon, Gibson, Damian Harris, Sony, Michelle, Pollard, Dillon, Jamal Williams, wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, Thielen, Woods, Chenault, and Gallup. So yes,
this team is not good.
I would want Hopkins. This is redraft.
To me, it's almost the same. This team is bad.
Yeah, because I think Hopkins can be your wide receiver one here, and you're okay. You can still fill in some pieces in your RB2.
Receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
Over 24 hours, 12 teams, super flex in capital letters,
which makes no
Dynasty
difference.
Full PPR. Offered Chase Claypool for CEH.
Give me Chase Claypool.
No.
Yes.
No. Get out of here.
Yes. No, come on. Chase Claypool got 15 targets.
PJ? Where's PJ? I need PJ in the chat.
Give me Chase Claypool. Trust me. At the end of the year, you'll look back at this trade and laugh. Give me Chase Claypool. Easy. Easy.
No way.
Give me Chase Claypool. One of those two assets is ascending and the other is descending. Give me Chase Claypool. Not close. Next question. It's not
Is
close.
it just the fact? Do I feel like Claypool hasn't been good just because he hasn't had a touchdown?
Yes,
Is that the main reason?
that's correct. He had 15 targets this last week, and he caught 9 of them. I think he caught 9 of them.
Deontay's out.
And whose fault is that?
He's coming back.
I mean, honestly, like, how is Chase Claypool going to produce this year anyway? Big Ben can't throw. None of them are producing.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't want CEH. You're going to, like, I think with CEH, you're going to be left holding the bag. You're going to be left with Devin Singletary. And I don't want Devin Singletary. So I just want something that I think is going to last me. And that's Chase Claypool. So I'm fine taking this.
Victor completed this trade earlier today. What do you guys think? Robbie, MJJ, is that Marvin Jones Jr.? And Jamal Williams for Pat. Is that
Freiermuth?
Okay. Is there another Pat Mahomes?
Well, it can't be Mahomes.
2022 second, 2022 third, and MVS in a rebuild with basically a ghost Jared Cook starting at tight end, 1 QB PPR.
I mean, in a rebuild, you're probably better off with the side you got.
Yeah.
As Marvin Jones is dead.
The picks and
well, Marvin Jones is dead. Jamal Williams is old, and Robbie Anderson is pretty old too.
Yeah, 100%.
Pat Freiermuth is someone I really like.
Ed agrees with me. I always feel better when Ed agrees with me.
Yeah.
I'd always feel better. Detroit, Chris, he says, good evening, boys. What's up, Chris? Appreciate you tuning in. What do you think is good value trade-wise for Jalen Hurts in a 12-team super flex?
After what he looked like last night? I mean, I'm not a Jalen Hurts person, and I never have been. The value that he holds is probably around 2 firsts, and I would just take it if I could get that. But that's probably the value he holds, honestly. You think he can get that? Because that's actually probably what he's worth, honestly.
2 first.
That's probably what he's worth. That's what quarterbacks in that range are worth. It just is. I might like him, but that's probably what he's worth.
I agree with Ed. This is a good question. Man.
I think your way out of Hurts is to trade for some sort of different quarterback, either up or down.
If I've got Hurts and I need him, I don't think I'm doing that. Like if
if you have, but that's what I'm saying. If you have Hurts, I think the way out is in a deal that involves another quarterback. Like if I could give Hurts and a first round pick, say, to get, I don't know, who's been struggling. I would have said Josh Allen, but he had a good game this week. Dak.
Mm-hmm.
If I could give Hurts and a first to get Dak, I would do it. In Superflex, I would do it easily. I would do it. Like I guess that's the kind of thing. If I could give, Hurts and Hurts in a second to get Matthew Stafford, someone who I'm very confident in for years, I'd probably do it. So or if I want to go down from Hurts, if I could give Hurts and acquire, the down options are not very appealing. It would probably be Darnold would be the target. And I would still need a second with Darnold isn't enough. And I'm not going to get a first with Darnold. Man, I mean, that would be great. Darnold and a first for Hurts if I could acquire that. So you see the kind of things I'm trying to do.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate the thought process there because I think that's how you have to go through.
Give him away. I'm not just going to give him away, but Hurts is someone I'd like off my team. If I'm a contender, I'd lean towards acquiring the big names. Like if I could pay up to get from Hurts to Dak or something, that would be something I would love to do if I were a contender. Because I'm just not confident in Hurts.
So I feel worse now. Chris agrees with you, and Chris is pretty smart. So now I feel worse.
No, he agrees with you.
Somebody, like, if you're watching this on replay, put in the comments who you like, Claypool or CEH. Let us know. Aaron, how do you guys personally acquire top running backs? Rookie drafts, waivers, recycle twilight age for younger, paying up after a good rookie year. Do you have a running back strategy? I'll say this, it's the last piece I look to acquire on a competing team. Whether that's in a startup or whether that's in a rebuild, whatever it is, it's the last piece that I look for. So
I don't think that I basically ever trade for a running back. So it's rookie drafts. Waivers, you're not getting a top running back on waivers. I do often do recycle Twilight Age for younger. I did a couple of, but he's not a top running back. Like I did a lot of this offseason. I did a lot of Cook and Kamara trades for Akers plus. That didn't work out. And Gibson plus, that looks a little better. Swift plus, that looks good. Najee plus. I did a lot of that. So yeah, it's usually either, but then that would have required that I had the Twilight Age guy in the first place, which is I haven't been playing Dynasty that long. So it's unlikely that I don't have any Twilight guys that I drafted originally and now still have them, because that would require that I've been playing Dynasty for like 4 years. So that hasn't happened to me yet. I might do that. But those are mostly Patreon teams that I inherited who already had Alvin Kamara. I wouldn't have drafted him, but I inherited a team working with someone from my Patreon who had Alvin Kamara, and I was like, I want to get rid of him. So yes, as part of my advice, recycle Twilight Age for younger is one of my favorite moves. I did a couple of trades like that myself this offseason as well, but it's mostly rookie drafts and recycle Twilight Age for younger. Those are the two.
We are 10 minutes away from ending the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to try and blaze through this a little bit. Open 24 hours.
You can always try to get more with Claypool. I mean, there's no reason not to get greedy.
Rookie drafts or overpaying for young studs. That was
I don't overpay for anything, so not overpaying. Not that one.
I think I might let go of Hurts for Darnold, a 2022 first.
I take the Darnold package. I would take the Darnold package here. So that's that would be a good offer for me.
Who's more likely to be the starting quarterback for their current team next year, Darnold or Hurts?
Darnold.
I mean, I hate to say that because I hope it's Hurts. I hope he gets a chance to start there again next year.
I mean, Darnold has 18.8 million guaranteed coming next year. 18.8 million guaranteed. He's giving quarterback for someone. So someone's paying him that. He's looked good for 3 weeks. Yep. Someone's paying him 18.8 million to be the quarterback. I think it's gonna be this team. What are they gonna do? I mean, if they go 11-6, how are they going to replace him? So no, Darnold is almost certainly going to be the quarterback of this team next year. And they've locked everyone in for 2022. They have Darnold under contract. They have DJ Moore under contract, Robbie Anderson under contract, Terrace Marshall under his rookie contract, Christian McCaffrey under contract. They can't get out of any of those in 2022. They're basically running this team for this year and next year, and then they'll decide. Jalen Hurts could easily be a backup next year. I'd still prefer Jalen Hurts over Darnold in Dynasty, but it's not by this much.
Yeah, but they don't have Joe Brady. They don't have a guarantee Joe Brady is going to be there. That's the one part of that makes me a little
confident
nervous.
in Matt Rule on his own. I mean, Matt Rule
is a defensive guy.
Seems like but it's not about that. He seems like an excellent coach to me, whereas Nick Sirianni seems incompetent. So I'd much rather have Matt Rule as my head coach than Nick Sirianni. I don't want any part of him.
Adam, I want you to know when I looked down and saw this, it made me smile. I really appreciate this comment. You say this every week. Please keep doing that. It makes me smile when I see it.
Can I say something about Adam? Huh? Adam is a great person on multiple levels, and I really appreciate you in every way. So thank you. You've really helped me out a lot with being there for me.
This is good from Ed. Yeah, there is a strategy. I forget who was the first one to coin this phrase, but draft RBs and trade for running backs.
I feel like a lot of people have said that.
Yeah, there was an original person. I can't remember. I want to say Rich Rebar, but I can't remember.
I feel like that can't be an original.
Yeah, Chris. This is a comment you make all the time, and it makes me uncomfortable every time you say it, Chris.
You do have beautiful eyes. I'm not gonna lie.
What players are you buying the dip on in Dynasty?
Okay, so players that have gone down in value where I'm buying the dip. Okay, AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Jerry Judy. Those are my first three names that came to mind. If there's any dip in Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts.
Who's selling them?
I don't think there is.
Who's selling them?
Jerry Judy, people, if you need a receiver desperately and you can't use someone who's injured, that might.
Maybe.
And AJ Brown, same thing. And Jonathan Taylor, because he's been ineffective. I don't know.
I just don't think people are selling. Like, I think you got to go to somebody like Clyde Edwards-Helaire because there's like that's a real dip. If we were redrafting right now, he would go way later than he did. I don't think that's true of Jonathan Taylor. I don't think he would go so much later than he went during startups.
But most of the guys that have dipped a lot, though, are not guys I want. So that's the thing. Like, if you've really dipped that much, that means I probably don't want you. I still think of all of them, Jerry Judy is my favorite.
Let's see. Okay, Herbert, Kamara, Eckler, Juju, bunch of names. What do you think of the Dynasty team?
It's a lot of names.
You break this down. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, you have Herbert, Kamara. Those are studs. Kelsey is a stud. I mean, this is a contender, right? Like, yeah. It's a little weak, I guess, at receiver. Behind Juju's not my favorite, as we all know. Higgins is injured, and Jamar Chase is the clear alpha. Landry's injured. Juju's actually injured too. So yeah, you need some help at wide receiver. Terrace Marshall is probably a year away. You have such strong running backs, quarterback with Darnold kind of being better than you thought, and tight end. I think you can win with this team. You just got to make a trade for a wide receiver. Maybe you can use your future first round picks to go all in. I mean, you have Kelsey, so you have Kelsey and Kamara. You should probably go all in. I've basically said that this team needs some wide receiver help, but it's loaded with studs. It probably has to try to go all in. I mean, when you have Kelsey and Kamara, you're kind of forcing yourself in that direction.
Love it. Ryan says fantastic stuff as always, guys. We appreciate you, Ryan. Ryan's the only other person that's ever been on this show.
That's true, actually.
Chagdor Swift has been pretty good. Was worried about him. Yeah, top 3 running back right now, right?
I think so.
Yeah, man. If you believed in him, you did pretty good. Yeah, top 3, number 3.
I have him running back 5 in Dynasty right now.
Very good. Mace says, "Mo money, mo problems." Then he says, "Real question, new to Dynasty, new league this year. After 4 years, your original drafted players go back into the free agent pool to be drafted unless you trade them. Is this normal?"
So what is this? A contract? This is just a contracts league.
Yeah.
So it's not normal, but there are leagues that play this way. It's called contracts league.
Not your traditional Dynasty, though. This isn't.
Yeah, it's not really my area of expertise either. I don't play in any.
I don't usually think about things outside of a 4-year window often.
Contracts leagues are weird, though. They change a lot of strategy. But yeah, it's unusual, but not unheard of.
Would you like to know who in September of 2017, 4 years ago, was the top player in DLF Dynasty? ADP.
1 QB?
Yeah.
Odell.
Yeah. Who was number 2?
September 2017?
Mm-hmm. We talked about him a lot today.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans. Number 3, David Johnson. Number 4, Le'Veon Bell. Number 5, Amari
Antonio
Cooper.
Brown. Oh, Amari Cooper.
Number 6, Antonio Brown. Number 7, Julio Jones. Number 8, Ezekiel Elliott. Like mostly the wide receivers on this list are still somewhat
still hanging around.
Yeah, it's like Zeke and like all the other running backs are either gone or
David Johnson,
Gordon.
Oh my god.
Most of the wide receivers are still somewhat relevant, except for the one we mentioned earlier, Des Bryant. And Ty, who was older there.
Almost relevant last year.
Yeah, he was much older than some of the other ones going there.
That's true.
Yeah, John Sharkey, would you look to trade Tannehill for Darnold?
Well, no, I'd look to trade Tannehill for Darnold plus, but not straight up.
I don't like Tannehill at all.
Me neither, but he still should be worth more than Darnold.
Dynasty Superflex. I just think he looks so bad right now. Like they lost their offensive coordinator and he looks bad.
His contract is even bigger than Darnold.
Let's see. That's odd, Mace.
It's just a contracts league. It's really not that odd.
Let's see. In a league like that, I'd be looking to make a buddy to trade my great wide receivers, quarterbacks, and back and forth.
Come on, Ed. We know we can't do that.
Blake says, any news on Jerry Judy return date? I haven't heard much. Have you?
Oh, it's probably going to be on the higher end of the 4 to 6 weeks, like we heard.
We need to ask Jeff.
Yeah, but also like it's going to be a while. Like, I mean, they said 4 weeks was like the best case scenario, so that would be 4 weeks missed after week 1 would be week 6. Mm-hmm. I think week 8 is like the best case scenario. They need him though, without Hamler.
Last question as we're at the 90 minutes. Robert says, is Lance the best rookie quarterback for Dynasty PPR?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
Still
so.
Lawrence.
Still Lawrence. Still Lawrence for now.
It's been a rough year for rookie quarterbacks, though. I'm not going to lie. Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, and Jones, and sometimes have not looked great. We were spoiled by last year. We got used to that. Yep. It's not going to be like that every year.
And we're at the 90-minute mark. That was the last question. BJ, it was your first time tuning in. Really appreciate you, BJ, for tuning in. As Ed, and this is why it's the best chat. Welcome, BJ, every Tuesday at 8:30. And Ryan says, yeah, you don't want to miss it. I have so much fun. I have fun hanging out with everybody in the chat. Have fun hanging out with you, Tyler. Any last words before we sign off?
No, I said it once. I'll say it again. I appreciate everyone who comes into the chat. Appreciate everyone who listens to the show. I do the show for you guys, just to answer all of your questions. And I love you. And thanks for being here. And see you all next week.
Appreciate it, Blake, and other kind words that we didn't put on here. Find me at Calvin and Hobby. He is at DLF_carp. Follow at DL Football for a lot of fun. It's been good. Corey running that account has been a lot of fun to do.
It's been fun, yeah.